and welcome. In my latest video, I tried to illustrate a situation in which so-called false friends and literal translations can lead to misinterpreting the message of the source language and overall to miscommunication and misunderstandings. Subsequently, I asked you guys to correct the translation in the comments, and I promised that I would make a separate video, which I am keeping my promise even though it's a bit later, but I was just waiting for more people to join in. But anyway, we'll talk about that later on. So I promised I would make a separate video where I go through your texts and correct them if necessary. And I said that I would also show you how I would have translated everything. Can I be honest with you guys? I knew right from the beginning that the translation would not be a piece of cake and that probably nobody would want to venture into it. But you know, I still had a glimpse of hope that maybe someone would be willing to take up the challenge, and I was really happy when I saw that one of you guys actually joined in and translated the whole text. So thank you very much, Lee, for your efforts. I know the text wasn't easy and I think you did a great job considering the level of difficulty. Alright, now let's take a look at Lee's translation, and I'm going to break it down and analyze one sentence at a time. And I'm also going to show you my version right after. So let's begin. Doamne și doamnelor, astăzi suntem onorați, întâmpină aici un oaspete special, profesorul excepțional Ray Hope. So, correct is doamnelor și domnilor, a standard formula that requires the vocative case. And the vocative case is one of the 5 Romanian cases that is used when addressing someone, like in this case, an audience. Okay, astăzi suntem onorați să întâmpinăm. You need to use the subjunctive mood here. Să întâmpinăm aici un oaspete special și anume, here I would add a construction și anume, which means something like namely or that is, because we want to specify who this special guest is, right? Și anume pe profesorul excepțional Ray Hope. If a noun is used in the accusative case as a direct object and it refers to people, the preposition pe is required before the noun. In such a case, the preposition doesn't have a meaning of its own, but it just, you know, serves like a function word to show the direct object of the sentence. Now, this is an elliptic construction, and at a first glance, it may be a little bit tricky to decide which syntactic role it plays, but considering that it gives more information about the direct object, it too plays the role of a direct object. And here's my variant. Doamnelor și domnilor, suntem onorați să îi urăm bun venit. I chose to use the dative expression a ura cuiva bun venit because I felt it is closer to the English verb to welcome, as it literally means to say welcome to somebody. The reason why I didn't use it in the sketch in the first place is because I needed an accusative verb for the gag to work, you know, and a întâmpina can be considered a synonym. But yeah, a ura cuiva bun venit is definitely more accurate in this case. So, one more time from the beginning. Doamnelor și domnilor, suntem onorați să îi urăm bun venit azi aici. This part is, in my opinion, optional, but you can add it if you really want to stay true to the source text. Unui oaspete de seamă și anume remarcabilului or distinsului profesor Ray Hope. Remarcabil and distins are synonyms, so I think either one works just fine here. You may be wondering why I placed the adjective in front of the noun, when in Romanian adjectives are usually placed after the noun. Well, this procedure is sometimes possible if you want to lay emphasis on the quality the adjective expresses. And in a situation like this, as you can see, the noun's dative ending gets transferred to the adjective. Alright, let's move on to the next sentence. And here's Lee's version. Profesorul vine aici din Universitate Indiana. With institutions, we use the prepositions la and de la instead of un and din. So we say la școală or de la școală, la spital, de la spital, la poștă, de la poștă, and so on and so forth. So, correct this, profesorul vine aici de la, and because the noun is followed by a determinant showing which university we're talking about, it needs a definite article. So, one more time, profesorul vine aici de la Universitatea Indiana. Normally, nouns don't take any articles when they're preceded by most accusative prepositions unless they are followed by a determinant, like we have here. I translated this sentence in the same way. Profesorul vine aici de la Universitatea Indiana. So let's move on to the next one. Lee wrote, el este expert în literatură cu cunoaștere mare de câteva discipline. Unlike English, in Romanian, when we talk about professions and occupations, we don't use indefinite articles. So we'd say something like, eu sunt profesor and not eu sunt un profesor. Unless there is a determinant following specifying what type or what kind of professor we're talking about. So for example, eu sunt un profesor bun. The same with our text here, because there is this construction right after that adds more information about the expert. The noun expert should take an article. El este un expert în literatură cu o cunoaștere mare. And the last part should be a genitive construction. So, a câtorva discipline. And my version sounds as follows. Este un expert în literatură cu o vastă cunoaștere a mai multor discipline. I use the adjective vast because it is a perfect equivalent for vast in English, and I placed it in front of the noun for more emphasis. Also, I felt that the phrase mai multe is a better match for the English phrase several. Next sentence. A petrecut toată viața sa instruire mulți oameni în scris creativa și a publicat duzine cărți însuși. Okay, here it sounds more natural to use a so-called possessive dative, which can be described as using dative personal or reflexive pronouns in order to express possession. So, și-a petrecut toată viața. Instruire is a noun and you need a verb here. Many times the equivalent of an English ing verb is in Romanian a gerund. By the way, I'm not talking here about progressive tenses like present continuous and so on, but about the verbal form on its own without any sort of auxiliaries. So, și-a petrecut toată viața instruind mulți oameni în scrierea creativă, although I have to say that the construction scriere creativă is more of a modern term, and to me it sounds rather odd to use it just like that, so I would personally add something like domeniu or în domeniul, you know? So, în domeniul scrierii creative. Și i-a publicat duzine cărți însuși. This I here stands for a dative personal pronouns that doesn't really make sense in the sentence, so let's just leave it out. For the construction dozens of, we have in Romanian the equivalent zeci de, so let's use that instead. Și a publicat zeci de cărți el însuși. Emphatic pronouns are usually used along with the corresponding personal pronouns. And here's my version. Și-a petrecut întreaga viață pregătind mulți oameni în domeniul scrierii creative și a publicat zeci de cărți el însuși. And the next sequence. Astăzi ne va vorbi despre novela sa faimoasă. The word novella has a different meaning in Romanian, and I think you meant here novella, which again is a false friend because the English word novel translates in Romanian as roman. So, astăzi ne va vorbi despre romanul său faimos, Șansă favorizează curajoasele. Fortune favors the bold is a saying coming from Latin, and it was translated into Romanian as norocul or soarta îi ajută pe cei îndrăzneți. So here's how I translated this part. Astăzi ne va vorbi despre faimosul său roman, Norocul or Soarta îi ajută pe cei îndrăzneți. The next sentence. Așa, lasă-mă să îl dau podiumul a acest școlar grozav. For the word so, used as an introductory particle, we have the equivalents așa că or așa încât. Lasă-mă is the singular form of the imperative, and because you're addressing an audience that consists of more than one person, you need to use the plural form. In this case, lăsați-mă. However, I'd personally use a different verb like permiteți-mi or dați-mi voie. Îl dau podiumul. You should use a dative here, so îi instead of îl, which is an accusative pronoun. Also, a da podiumul is not really a Romanian expression. I'd use something like a ceda podiumul or a ceda microfonul. And the correct form of the demonstrative adjective in the dative case is here acestui. Yeah, școlar is another trap. In Romanian it means pupil or schoolboy, whereas in English the word scholar refers to a person who studies a subject in great detail or a person with great knowledge, you know. And the Romanian term for that would be învățat or savant. So I wrote, așa încât permiteți-mi să îi cedez podiumul or microfonul acestui minunat savant. I chose minunat instead of grozav as grozav sounds to me a little bit informal. But yeah, it was just a word choice. And the last part, profesor, vă invit a podium. Again, because the professor is addressed directly, the vocative case should be used here. So, profesore, vă invit pe podium. And my version is as follows. Profesore, vă invit să luați cuvântul. I think the Romanian expression a lua cuvântul is a more adequate translation of the English to take the floor, so I just went for it. Alrighty, we made it to the end. Thank you very much, Lee, for your translation, and I really hope you guys found this useful and interesting. And as always, if you have any questions or any suggestions for future lessons, let me know in the comments. Okay, I'll see you next time. Be happy!